this is the fun video. This is the funnest of all the videos because now we're going very tactical with some examples of how to pull them closer, how to actually really heal relationships, and how to create just deeper, better bonds. Hi, this is Christiansen, and we're talking the third part series of how to connect and how to communicate with your children and with your family. In the last video, we talked about how to meet them on their level and how to get the cadences and timing that you can best communicate with them. And this is the fun video. This is the funnest of all the videos because now we're going very tactical with some examples of how to pull them closer, how to actually really heal relationships, and how to create just deeper, better bonds, and some of the tactical things that you can actually do. And although some of these things will be very intuitive and you'll say, oh, duh, of course, there will be others that, oh, that may be a little bit harder, and I challenge you to try it. I challenge you to just come with an open mind today and try a couple of these. The first tip that I would give, whether they're young children, whether they're teenage children, or even if they're older, even if you have raised children and maybe you find yourself in a strained relationship, is take a passion in what they're interested in. We talked last video about how frequently we always want them to come to our level and take and understand where we're at. Seek first to understand before you seek to be understood. And so go take a passionate interest in whatever they're interested in. Of course, short, if it's destructive, you don't need to do that. Then the best thing to do is just ignore it or block it and redirect to positive things. But if it's a positive thing, and quite frankly, I don't care whether it's Barbie dolls, I don't care whether it's a certain type of genre of music, even if it's opera, what harm is it going to do? If it's baseball, or whether it is collecting some kind of card, or even a video game, go take an interest in what they're interested in and simply ask them, hey, what are you doing there? And hey, will you teach me that? My children love to be the ones that teach me some new skill with guessing. Oh, well, Dad liked that. As we're going down and driving in the car on trips, we play this really fun game where we all take a turn rotating the song, and then we explain why we like it. That takes an interest in theirs, and I say, oh, I really like that song. Wow, Matthew, I love the beat on that. Will you add that to my favorites list? What does that do instantly? It created this visceral connection on music, something they were interested in. He feels understood, and wow, there we go. So instantly taking an interest in what they're interested in. A great example that I just used is music. The differences in music. I remember when I was coming of age, I went and bought this record. It was my first record. It was Smoking in the Boys' Room. Smoking in the Boys' Room. Oh, it had a great beat, and I didn't even know the implication of it. Well, I love you, my dear mother who's passed away, but probably the solution wasn't to have me go out into the sandbox and with my first purchase require me to take a hammer and break the record into a bunch of pieces. That probably wasn't the best message, although Mom, you did everything else right. Maybe that's not the solution. Maybe the solution is if it's not a great beat or something, then to wait to the next, not make a lot of content, not give a lot of feedback on it, then wait to the next. Oh man, I love that one. Oh, I love the beat of it. What does that mean? Take an interest in your kids' music. Right now, two of my sons are crazy into basketball, and our favorite team, which shall remain nameless, has an amazing team. I will give you a hint. They were #1 ranked in the entire NBA this year. And boy, my sons have got a great interest. I wasn't really into it. Guess what? I am now. Last week, I spent way too much money to take them to the #1 or the second round of the playoff series. And we stood in that arena and screamed and cheered, and I was shouting all the chants with them. And guess what I have an interest in now? Man, as a matter of fact, I won't even miss a game. I'm so interested, and we send tweets back and forth when we're not there. And most of the time we get together and we eat buffalo wings. You know the bonding that's taking place over that. Whatever your children are interested in and passionate in, please take an interest. My little grandson Joseph is crazy mechanical. Before he could even talk, he would go and take all the Matchbox cars out. He would line them up, and then he'd sort them by color, and then he'd sort them by size, and then he'd sort them by chassis type. And he loves to fix. So last time he came, he says, Samuel, come here, let's go fix. So he followed me around for 30, 40 minutes doing these jobs where we had a truck, a weed truck, which was just a wheelbarrow, but we called it a truck. And we fixed the tire. And then I showed him how the air pump and let him push the button on the air pump. And then we went and we fixed the chicken corral on the thing. And I really didn't need to fix that stuff, but I knew he was greatly interested in that. And the rest of the day, particularly after I gave him 1/4, 2 quarters, 3 quarters, 4 quarters, and he very carefully put them in his pocket, and then he says, no, the little pocket. And he took and lifted the flap up in the Velcro and stuck that in his little pocket and carried that pay around with him all day. You know the result. He spent the entire day following me around asking, Grandpa, what we gonna fix? Whatever your kid's interested in, take an interest in them. Second tip that I'll give you, and this is particularly important for, no, it's important for all of them. If you dork it up and mess it up, apologize. We all mess it up. We're all human. We're all going to step in it. I stepped in it last week with my son Alex. And I went to him and simply says, I had a lot of stress. I was kind of frustrated on some other things. Son, I'm sorry. Now let me give you 2 little hints here. The first is if you're doing this for a child, don't stand over them in magnificent and I am sorry I said that. Drop down to your knee, put your eyeballs to their eyeball level, and offer a real apology. Don't demean them with your height and your stature, but get on their eyeball and show and say, Mama was just having a really bad day. I'm so very sorry. Watch how quickly that child will forgive you. Now, if you're doing it with a teenager, their BS meters are so freaking high that if you're just BSing it and trying to fake it, they will catch it like that. So this is the tip with the teenagers, is if you're really not sorry, don't apologize. Wait until you're sincere and you can actually see it. And then when you do it, change the behavior and tell them what you're going to do differently next time. Then they'll take it seriously and then take efforts to actually do it. And if you're imperfect at it, apologize again. So tip number 2 is apologize. The third, and this is my favorite trick of all, doesn't work for little kids, and you shouldn't with little kids, but although it does. If you want to spread venom and poison, if you love to just totally destroy, let me tell you how to do it. Go and say negative, yucky, bad things around the people you love behind their backs. Now, if you want to fix it, and you actually want to build and expand and solve it and heal it, do the exact opposite. Go to their friends and behind their back when they're in the other room, say, man, Alex is such an animal. He is such a beast on the Frisbee golf course. He is slaying me left and right, and I really, really trust him. A matter of fact, I trust him more with my money than I would most adults. And then let the friends or the others around spread that positive mojo and juice back to them. And watch how quickly that starts to heal the relationship. Say really nice, kind things about the people that you love and care about behind their back, particularly if the relationship is strained or damaged in any ways. All right, I think a final little tip that I would give in this section is you know what? Most of us in our lives, we have what I'm going to call a bottle of water before us. And when some offense happens, some negative thing happens, we take it and we'll pick at it and pick at it and pick at that offensive behavior, trying to pull it out of the jar. I would actually contend that love solves it better. And the right solution isn't to pick at it, but it's actually to pour more love, more acceptance, more water in. And then most of the time, the snot ball or the offending behavior just floats out of the top and the water doesn't end up all polluted. So be really deliberate and careful with the criticisms you give. Now, that doesn't mean that at the appropriate times you don't offer perspective. But if it's sought or the intent is desired back, then you're far more likely to be able to resolve the issue.